Hey everybody, Steve Schirmer here again with a FOMO bet of the week for the Honda Classic. Rough week last week for the FOMO bet. I was on Hideki Matsuyama for a couple stuff. Did not work out. My instincts were pretty wrong. To be fair, I was considering doing something with Will Zalatoris, was Seat the Gala. Those were the way to go. Instead, I gave you Hideki Matsuyama, which was garbage. So I apologize, but we'll try and get back on the horse this week. For the most part, these have been pretty solid. We'll see what happens. So let's talk about the Honda Classic, and I talked about a lot this week about who has won these types of tournaments, the ones with really weak fields. Ever since I'm going to basically the PGA Championship last year, because that's when you started seeing guys defect to live. You start seeing the middle of the board, a lot of those types leave, and then it pushed up a lot of guys used to be 80, 90, 100, 125 to 1 up the odds board then. So what has happened with kind of outright betting? Well, what's kind of happened is that the guys who end up winning, first of all, like a lot of premium players, as you know, but the ones who are non-premium players playing in these types of weaker fields, who are they? What type of profile they have? Well, I mean, I got a list right here. So let's go all the way back to the Byron Nelson. That was right before the PGA Championship. That was a 4-live start, but Cage Lee, had won on the PGA Tour before he won to the Byron Nelson, 100 to 1, been around for a while, been in the mix in some events. That was a winner. You have the John Deere, JT Poston. I think he was around 50 to 1 that week. Former winner of Wyndham, playing well, an established name. I remember that week there was a lot of flavor of the week types. Your Hayden Buckleys, your Nick Hardys, your Chris Gotterups, who got some betting, and a JT Poston ended up winning. So that's him. Then we go to the Sanderson, Mackenzie Hughes, former winner on the PGA Tour, been in the mix in a lot of tournaments. I mean, he was in the mix of the U.S. Open, been relevant in some FedEx Cup events, relevant on top of the leaderboard. Kind of a name in the Gallup gambling community. He wins at 100 to 1, but he's an established name. The Zozo, Keegan Bradley, 35 to 1, obviously a very established name, former major winner, multi PGA Tour winner. You got the Bermuda Championship. Very similar to this week. Very weak field, full of a lot of unproven players. Seamus Power ends up winning. He won before, I think, at the Barbasol, but he's been in the mix a lot over the last couple of years or so. Has some brand value behind him, some win equity. He's the winner. Mayakoba last year, Russell Henley, hadn't won in a while, but he wasn't actually in very good form coming in, but you get him on a track that was pretty good for him. He wins Siwoo Kim at Sony, 45 to 1. Obviously, he's won a lot. And then most recently, Justin Rose, 25 to 1 at Pebble. An established name, a little bit past his prime, playing okay. So you look at the list, though, and honestly, in hindsight, not really a whole lot of surprise of guys who won. So I've tried to match my betting card with some of these types this week, regardless of form or not. I mean, I mentioned Seamus Power, did not have any form coming in there. Russell Henley didn't have any form coming in there. So I feel pretty, it's feeling good about this card is relative, but there's one guy who I don't have on here. And I have a very complicated history with this player at the Honda Classic. That's Shane Lowry. And, for a while, I talked about him last week. He's $7,300 in DraftKings. Thought that was way too low. I explained kind of the circumstances of what had going on with him. He was 54-hole leader at the Abu Dhabi HSBC, blew the lead, ends up being horrible the next week, fires his caddy, comes back to Scottsdale, is bad, maybe getting used to the caddy. And then last week, he's great Riviera. Obviously, if you follow this space and watch golf, you remember he probably should have won the Honda Classic if it didn't start raining. There's that. And he's also very good at a lot of these tracks I've looked at this week with a lot of penalty areas, a lot of water. So example, last year, second Honda Classic, T13 at the Players last year. He also has an 8th place finish at the Players, a lot of water there. 11th at Liberty National, a lot of water there. 6th in Memorial, 23rd at TBC Southwind. You have another 6th place finish at Southwind back in 2020. So, some of these like positional plotter golf course, a lot of water in it. He's done really well. So the problem is he was, like 12 to 1, 14 to 1. Now, as I sit here today, though, he's drifted to 16 to 1, and there's actually, the ability, there's some bonuses out there this week and some offers where you can actually boost up the outright price. You could technically get him at like 19 to 1 at this point. And I think, getting at that point with a guy like Shane Lowry, clearly probably him and Sungjae head and shoulders above everybody else in this field as far as talent. Now, it's a very volatile course, but I've just shown that he's had success here and success at these types of places. You get a guy like that 19-1. I mean, I look at some of the guys I bet this week, and I think I probably would rather just do that. Maybe get rid of 2 guys and put that on there. So my exposure to Shane Lowry this week is just the top 20. I don't really want to add a 19-1 based on how my card was structured. But you can if you want to do that. So I guess that's my FOMO bet of the week. I mean, the FOMO is also because he really should have cashed me. I would have had 3 outrights in a row. Then that happened. Then I ended up going a little while without an outright. So it would really, really just poke me in the eye if he ends up winning this one. And I wasn't on it, but he fits a profile of the type that's been kind of winning these types of events, since last May. Basically an established player, a veteran with some win equity that, it's not a great price for an outright, but, you got him almost winning last year. Even Daniel Berger, same type. You got this blueprint last year that basically this type of player can do well in a very weak field, and basically still win. So if you have the ability to get him up to like 19-1, or even like if he drifts a little bit to 18-1, in the coming, before tomorrow morning, I say just bet him. I think that's a fair number considering who Shane Lowry is and the fact he's coming off a very good performance at Riviera. Maybe he is back. Maybe he fixed all the caddy stuff, and he has a lot of success at these types of tracks. So that's my FOMO bet of the week, and good luck at the Honda Classic.